Yo, what's up? Welcome to Sober Guy Radio. Thanks to Humans for bringing us in. Thanks to you for supporting the show. We are live at Innovations in Recovery Conference in San Diego, California, brought to you by Foundations Recovery Network. Big thanks to them for bringing us out here, setting us up, and allowing us a great opportunity to talk to some wonderful people in the recovery industry and in recovery themselves, too. Just an awesome time we're having here. The weather's beautiful. Brought the whole family down, so really enjoying it. Really blessed to be here and very grateful. Have a great guest for you today from Covenant Hills Treatment Center. It's Robert Shryoc. And they are, well, let me introduce Robert first, and then we'll actually let him tell you about Covenant Hills. Robert, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here, man.
Hey, Shane. Thanks for having me. Great to be here. Yeah, it's a great story. So just so you'll know, Covenant Hills, we've been around for over 20 years. It's a Christ-centered treatment center that gives everybody the option of the Christian track or the traditional track. We really believe in a 60-day experience, and we really believe in a gender-separate experience. We've got two campuses in Southern California, in San Clemente and Dana Point, and then a women's campus in Central Texas outside of San Antonio. Got it. Okay, so it's we kind of mentioned before you kind of have a choice on which part of the recovery you would like to go down, I guess, in a sense. But what does it mean to be a faith-based program? So our message, just so you know, our message to every person that walks through the door is, hey, God is not our concern right now. You are. We'll get to him when you're ready. It really is that message of warmth and respect and humility. But I know this, and we all know this, that any good treatment center is going to have a strong sense of structure. They're going to structure their day. They're going to structure their meals, their groups. They're even to a certain degree going to structure their free time. But there's this prevalent theme in treatment today that says, hey, when it comes to that spiritual component, we're not going to structure that at all. You can make God into whoever, whatever you want him or her or it to be. We've just brought that same theme of structure to that spiritual component that says we believe God is beautifully and perfectly articulated in Scripture. But again, we're not here to beat anybody over the head with that. I love the message that says we're not here to fix you. We just want to know you. And hope you'll be willing to know us, because we're struggling in our own relationships, in our own finances, in our own devotion, and in our own purity. And we believe God uses those struggles to draw us closer to himself. So let's forget this struggle-free version of life and learn what it means to struggle well together.
You know, I think that's a great point that you bring up there, is that we're all struggling. And I think sometimes in our own insecurities, at least I know for myself, I can get a view of somebody who may look like they quote unquote have it all together, right? And maybe they're not struggling. Well, what I've learned by talking to people, and as I grow a little bit deeper each day in my own faith, is that we're all in the same boat usually.
That's right.
And when we can be open about that, when I can be open about that, I know it helps me to connect better to people, which ultimately creates a better life experience.
That's right.
How does that relate to treatment for you in people connecting and really just opening up that door, I guess?
So I had a guy ask me one time, he said, Robert, what do you think people want most in life? It took me about 5 seconds to answer the question. I said, I believe we want to be fully known and fully loved. But the lie we've all believed is that if anybody ever truly fully knows me, there's no way they can fully love me. And that is, I believe that is the root of recovery. It's real recovery is built on these principles of transparency and accountability, which really means being fully known and still being really cared for the mess of humanity that I represent. And and that's the difference between sobriety and recovery. I kind of call sobriety this white-knuckled grip on what I'm not allowed to do, and I call recovery the freedom that is found in transparency and accountability. Yeah, because when we look at recovery, I love that sobriety versus recovery, or how are they different? Yep. There are some similarities when we just look at it at the face of it, but recovery is a life program to me. Staying sober is, like right now, I would say staying sober is easier for me than living life, because there's God throws so many things each day, and it can be tough sometimes. So let's take. I want to give an example here, I guess. Sure.
When you get somebody that comes into recovery, and let's say they're kind of hesitant on the God issue.
Yeah.
How do you address that?
Man, primarily that I can't help but go back to that message that says, man, God's not our concern, you are. And we just engage. We believe as a company, and I believe personally, that most patterns of addiction are really symptoms of deeper issues of the heart that can only be addressed in the context of real relationship. So again, it comes down to connecting, as connecting with a soul, and making sure that person knows that my heart is wickedly deceptive. I want every person in our program, when they leave, to leave with what I call a healthy distrust of self, a healthy distrust of their own heart. That's what's so important about real friendship, that sponsor-sponsee relationship that is rooted in accountability. I love, this is a great illustration, I love the picture of a compass. A compass relies on the North Pole, magnetic north, to determine what north is, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So what I love about a compass is it doesn't rely on anything inside of itself to determine true direction. It relies on an external, fixed, trustworthy, and reliable source to determine what is true direction. So that's really what we want the men and women on our program to embrace. And it doesn't have to be our exact definition of faith. As long as they know, like that advice where somebody says, hey man, you just need to trust yourself. I want to go up to that person and say, no, that's the worst advice ever. Yeah. I can convince myself of anything.
Yeah.
Like really and truly.
Yeah.
And I love the comedian Mark Lundholm. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
He was actually, that's so funny that you brought, he changed my life, man.
That guy.
He spoke in treatment when I was in there. He came on the show, one of the first episodes we did.
Yeah.
I love that guy too, but I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. I love his message. His whole shtick is built on my first thought is always wrong.
First thought wrong.
First
I
thought
remember
wrong.
It.
My
second thought wrong. Third thought wrong. Sometimes
right.
He would say. Yeah.
And that's just what we want the people in our program to grow in that understanding of.
I love that, because I get in my own head sometimes, right? Often, actually. When I come back to knowing that there's something greater than me, and I don't have to wear all that on my sleeve, and I don't have to carry that load, there's something so powerful in that helps relieve the stress, the pressure of wanting to go off and drink, or wanting to get angry, or wanting to lash out, because those are a lot of the feelings that that would come up before I had that kind of spiritual awakening, I guess.
That's right.
What is personal to you about recovery, Robert? What is there a personal aspect that kind of drew you into this world?
So I had some family. I don't have a alcohol or drug related recovery in my own past.
Sure.
I've had some family that went through it.
Yeah. Most of us have.
Yep. Yep. Everybody knows somebody.
Definitely.
And but I do believe with every fiber in me that the only difference between me and the alcoholic is you just can't smell the struggles in my life on my breath.
I like it.
I honestly,
I like it.
I'm better at hiding my struggles. And yeah, absolutely. And I have a relationship with those struggles, like a deep, hidden secret. I feed them, I nurture them, I protect them, and I love to personify those struggles, just like I like to personify addiction.
Yeah.
And most people enter treatment with this awareness that there's a problem, but this fear of facing life apart from that relationship that they have with their addiction. That's why I love the word forsake. So the word itself implies a trust relationship.
Yeah.
So I can't forsake a total stranger, right?
Yeah.
So I love the fact that we are equipping and empowering the people in our program to turn their back on that relationship and walk out, to forsake it. Because it's over there going, whoa, wait a second.
Yeah.
After all we've been through, you're just going to walk out on me?
Walk out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the only person that really knows you. I'm there in those deep, quiet, dark, lonely moments. You'll be back and I'll be here.
Yeah, man,
that's where the beauty of powerlessness comes into effect.
One of my favorite from Paul, for when I'm weak, then I am strong.
Yeah.
And because I think obviously it's relatable to all aspects of our lives. And there's something about getting honest and being vulnerable. And we're talking about the secrets.
Yeah.
When we can actually express those, whether it's through a 12-step program, whether it's to a pastor, to a friend, when we start to talk about them, part of the reason created the show. What's up, Tad? Tad's got the parrot rolling through here right now. It's pretty awesome. Hey, when we start to express those and talk about them, though, there's something there's something weakening about it at first, but it turns into a powerful, very powerful growth, I guess, or understanding. What's your take on that?
I love the definition of surrender.
Yeah.
Like the dictionary definition of surrender is to stop fighting, hiding, and resisting. And so many people equate surrender with failure, and it's absolutely not.
Yeah, they equate it as a weakness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, especially coming from man's point of view. I can
Our
speak
culture.
as a man because
That's
I'm a dude. Like, I'm supposed to be this tough guy, no emotion, no. I need to just put my head, independent, put your head down, grind, don't cry about it. It's like, dude, that got me alone in a very dark place. Not really caring about too much.
That's right. Here's a question. I still get to lead group.
Oh, nice.
And one of my favorite questions to ask a group early in recovery is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good are you at helping other people? Man, most people, the lowest I've ever had anybody say was a 6, and it's usually between an 8, a 9, or a 10.
Really?
Okay, yeah, they'll say, I love helping other people. Like that really feeds me.
Yeah.
And then I ask them, okay, great, scale of 1 to 10, how good are you at asking for help?
1.
And they'll say, what do you got that's lower than a 1?
Yeah, can I say 0?
I don't know what it is about us, as we are hardwired. We suck at asking for help, and that's what the program is built on.
Got it. It's feeling comfortable, making those connections, and actually reaching out for help.
Well, honestly, it's embracing uncomfort. It's that vulnerability.
Yeah.
It's like so my definition of vulnerability, I hate to puke, like I hate to throw up, and I'll fight it, and I'll grit, and I'll strain, and I will resist it until I can't resist it anymore. I'll run to the toilet, I'll puke my guts out, and every time I'm thinking, God, why didn't I do that hours ago?
Because the thought of it was going to be so bad, it was going to be so terrible. We start making these things up in our mind.
Honestly, there's not much I can think of that's better. A better illustration of loss of control than puking.
Yeah. That's very true.
That is, and so ultimately, so when I introduce myself, when I speak at meetings, I say, hi, my name's Robert. I crave comfort and control, and I struggle every day between wanting to trust God and wanting to be God.
Oh man, I love that. That is so true right there.
Yeah.
As soon as I start in control, that's another big part of just us as human beings. I think trying to control everything. When I'm trying to control everything in my life,
mess, man.
It is like it's terrible.
Yep. And
as soon as that light bulb goes off, and I say, wait a minute, I have God to rely on to give me strength to handle these situations for me. Man, the weight, the pressure that comes out from me, like I said before, it's immense. What do you like? Talk about control a little bit. More jump into that a little bit. I think that's a great topic.
So the opposite of control, really and truly, is trust.
Yeah.
The opposite of control is not loss of control or lack of control. The opposite of control is trust. The trust looks good on paper. It sounds good. There's bank accounts named after it that we,
Yeah,
but
that's a good point.
The heart of trust is asking somebody to hand you the car keys of their life. And what we're really asking them is, in that moment of conflict, I'm asking you to trust me more than you trust you. And that is scary stuff. When people enter treatment, I tell them, all you need, there's only 2 things required of you for this program to be a success. It's patience and it's trust. Like patience, it's going to be easy for you to be patient with the staff, easy for you to be patient with the other clients. The hardest person for you to be patient with is going to be yourself.
Yeah.
Your body's going to heal quicker than your brain. you're going to feel better physically before you're out of that fog mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
Yeah.
And something happens, man. We get to feeling better physically, and we're just ready to haul butt.
Yeah. Well, I know I'm my own worst enemy.
That's it.
There's nobody harder on me than me.
That's right.
Like I can, and I've always been like that. Even when I look back to a kid, say it's sports or something. And I think a lot of us are like that. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves. We want to be the best we can be, but I'm an imperfect person. And as soon as I had some acceptance in that, man, huge, man. Let's. I had one more quick topic I wanted to touch on. It totally
I could do this for hours.
Oh, I know.
I'm so grateful to be on the show, man.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on today. If folks wanted to reach out and get more information, where can they do that?
Man, believe it or not, our primary line for admissions is also our primary crisis line, and it's 1-800-NO-ABUSE. That's 1-800-662-2873. We actually answer that line as a crisis counselor.
Really?
That is there first and foremost to hear the story, to listen, to ask some questions about what's going on. Have you been through treatment before? What can we do to help? It was, wow, what a statement of courage it is for you to pick up the phone and call today, whether that's the struggling individual or a family member or a loved one. We get... But between the plus or minus 1,000 calls a month that we get, we refer 95% of those into other programs based on what the resources are, based on what the diagnosis is, and sometimes even based on the geography. We get calls from all over the nation, and sometimes somebody in treatment that's in Texas is not willing to come out to California for treatment.
Sure,
and so we have relationships all over the U.S. We have relationships with low to no cost programs.
A lot of options.
And so, the 1-800-NO-ABUSE, they're going to hear the story of Covenant Hills. We absolutely believe in who we are and what we do. But, man, we're not over here trying to be all things to all people.
Yeah, sure. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you coming on today. It's great to chat with you. Give the number out one more time for me.
Oh, it's super simple. 1-800-NO-ABUSE. That's 800-662-2873.
Robert, thanks a lot for coming on today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Go to www.thatsoberguy.com for any more information. Live from Innovations in Recovery, San Diego. Peace, love, respect. Keep your blood clean.